Broadcasting live, it's Cream Pie Sunday.
Oh, yeah.
And now for your hosts, give it up for Josh and Rick.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yes. Here we are, folks, another Sunday. Just me and my boy Rick, talking about the most pressing issues of today's world. We have a few segments for you. I'm alone in my house with my cat. Rick, how you doing?
I'm good. I'm home alone with my two dogs. And yeah.
Yep. So away she goes.
Yo, so since I have to work to make money and then money to buy a place to live and buy food and stuff, is that modern slavery or no? Because I'm forced to work against my will in order to live and survive.
Well, not quite. Because if you didn't work and you didn't pay your bills, you'd still survive. I mean, they might, what? I mean, you'd be homeless, right? But it is a choice still.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you're not getting whooped for not paying your bills either. You just get debt collectors that call you.
You're just behind a lot of dumpsters just doing menial tasks.
Right.
I forgot who it was. Maybe it was like Ben Shapiro or something, like one of those guys that just are known for ripping people apart.
Yeah.
And he watched some TikTok of some kid. I'm going to say kid just because they're younger than me. They're probably in their 20s. And he's like, oh, this is modern slavery. I have to work to survive. This is bullshit, blah, blah, blah. And the guy's like, no, because if we had no money and everything was free and you had everything you ever wanted without ever having to work for it,
yeah,
it wouldn't really pan out. That's not a realm that exists,
Yeah, man. I saw this shit. So I forget who it was that created the 9-to-5 40-hour work week. Was it Henry Ford? Something like that. It was in like the 1800s.
I don't know. I know Ford like revolutionized like the assembly line. Like he was the first one that had people at stations and shit.
Maybe it was like the early 1900s. Something like that. And it was like, I saw this tweet and it was like, on this day, whatever, 100 years ago, they invented the 9-to-5 40-hour work week. And all the comments were like, F this guy. Like, what the hell? Like, this guy sucks. Dude, the average person that worked in a manufacturing job before that worked 100 hours a week. So, and he still paid them the same amount of money. So it was actually like super progressive. It was like the best thing that had ever happened to the working man. But now we're like so slipped and so lazy. We're like, F that guy, 40 hours a week? This is bullshit.
Well, even getting into the whole, I was about to say child slavery, that's not it, like child labor.
Yeah.
Like I remember learning it must have been middle school, where if you were a little kid, you were basically in a little factory with one window up in the corner. Everybody's in there breathing in dust and fumes, and
horrible.
And you're either assembling little pieces or you're running a sewing machine at like 6 years old.
Yep.
Things have changed a little bit.
Yeah, they still do that in a lot of countries, not here. That's why we act like we're better than everybody else, so we just export our manufacturing to other countries where they do allow child labor. Everybody on their fucking iPhones tweeting about how bad things are. Meanwhile, a fucking child slave built it somewhere, assembled it in China. Nike is so progressive with their BLM movement. Meanwhile, kids are putting together their fucking sneakers. It's so fucking hypocritical,
It's kind of weird to go this long without a Kanye West update. I haven't heard about him in a while. He must be working on something big, like something that's really just gonna just destroy his career further.
He tends to, he comes in waves. I think Travis Scott just came out with an album a couple days ago, Utopia, which is pretty good. He made the whole thing on a Akai, I guess. But
the hell is that? Oh, is it a beat machine?
Like a MIDI.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's pretty good. It's a pretty good album. I mean, I've been riding Travis Scott's for years, though. I'm not a bandwagon fan. But Kanye, I think a few of those instrumentals Kanye gave Travis Scott. So he's still... But they were like leftover Donda instrumentals, I think. Because they sound very Donda-esque. Donda.
Because I got home Friday and I was listening to the new Seven Dust CD and I was like, all right, this is pretty good. But that's like new metal, kind of heavy metal kind of deal.
Mm.
And then I pop up Spotify and it showed Travis Scott. I'm like, oh, okay. I had no idea because I was just thinking about it the other day.
Yeah.
It's like I haven't heard anything about him other than I heard his like Egypt shows were canceled because realistically what he was trying to build, because we saw him at live, like he had a pretty elaborate setup.
Oh yeah.
And now by this point, he's years after that. So he tried to do something absolutely crazy in the desert, and they're like, that's not even possible. We can build the pyramids. We can't do this, Travis. Like, you just got to chill, dude.
Yeah.
Come on.
He wants like the roller coaster to go over the Pyramid of Giza and shit. Like, yeah, I don't know about that. Yeah, dude, I was worried about him for a while there with the whole Astro World Festival where people died, got crushed. You know, I don't think you can blame Travis Scott. I still am like on his side with that.
Yeah.
Supposedly he saw it happening. I don't believe that, dude. He was up on stage or up on that platform or whatever. You can't see the audience, what's going on.
Yeah.
You got lights shining at you. Second of all, he's not the fire marshal. It's not his job to allow a certain amount of people in the venue. And if he said, let more people in and they greenlit it, then that's not his fault either. He shouldn't have final say. He's the artist. You know what I mean?
So we may not know the answer to this, but did he like ask the crowd to like rush the stage or ask them to do anything? Or it just kind of from the chaos is like how people got killed ultimately?
I mean, I don't think he told anybody to mosh or anything like that. I'd have to look at the videos again. I don't remember. But even if he did, I mean people do that at concerts, you know?
I mean, just to think about it. I mean, he was in like, so like legally, is he off the hook now? Like, or is he still in the middle of that whole deal?
No, it's been years. I think he's good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, no, I just pulled it back to like Woodstock 99 or whatever with like Limp Bizkit having everybody like rush the crowd and
yeah,
and basically inciting a riot, and he got nothing.
Yeah.
So it would just kind of like showed you like how over the music industry that could happen 20 years ago, and now somebody gets crucified for it, and it's absolutely nuts.
Yeah.
But he did go ghost, because now we live in a world where if something happens to you, you just have to stay off the radar.
Yeah, for like a year.
For like a year, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, here's a new song. It's like that's just the way it works. You know?
Yeah. He eased into it. He started with a couple features on Metro Boomin's album, and then now he's back with Utopia. I guess he traveled all around the world, like trying to visit like the best places, and that was the inspiration for the album Utopia. It's kind of cool. He's got Bad Bunny on a track. Bad Bunny's huge.
I heard Cuddy on there on one track.
Yep, Cuddy's on one. Yeah. It's cool. He always kind of like does this thing. It's like a balance between, there's like rock themes to it. You know what I mean? A lot of like rock style drums, but like trappy. But it's an interesting genre what he does. He got a little bit too trappy and too weird for a while, but I don't know.
It was funny because I put it on yesterday, just the first song, and just the way it opens, I'm like, boys, this song fucking bangs. It's like been playing for 15 seconds. I'm like, I'm all in, dude. Like, let's go, dude.
I remember when he first released, I'm pouring coffee. When he first released Astro World, he that first song, that first track on the album, roll, got me stargazing. And like that bass, boom. And it was hard instantly. Perpetual boner.
That's I would never like put that in like a top list, but every time I look at it, it's like, man, there's not a sleeper song. There's not a bad song in that whole album, dude.
No, yeah.
Off Astro World.
Astro World is great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even like the ballads, like the Stop Playing God or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't try to be God. Is that what it was?
Something. I forget what the name of the song is, but Cuddy's featured on that, just his humming. Just humming. That's it. It's like, I know that hum. Yeah.
Well, he was one of those guys where you listen. I mean, Kendrick Lamar, everybody does it now, where the song sounds like 4 different songs.
Yeah.
And I remember back in the day, you sent me the link to 90210, and I listened to the first like 2 minutes of it, and I put it, and I texted you. I'm like, that song kind of sucked, dude. And
I love it.
And then you played it at your house the next day. I'm like, oh, this is the same song? I was like, this bangs. And it's like, I had no idea, because it's like a 6-minute song, but I only gave it a little shot. So
yeah. I don't know, man. When the bass kicks in that 90210 song, and he's like, Jacques to la flame, you know, I was just like, I get the goosebumps, you know? Like you feel the build. You can feel the build. 50 on a chain, another 50 on a caddy, and you hear the chain jingling. It's like, God damn. I love the synth bass, like that wave where they have like certain thing turned up where it just feels heavy, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot of old school classic synths on Utopia too, which I love when they take like an 80s sounding synth and turn it into like a trap song.
Yeah.
I always fuck with like old 80s sounds. That's why I like The Weeknd so much. A lot of The Weeknd songs sound like 80s songs, you know? Something about the pacing of an 80s song, like the rhythm of it, like the groove. I don't know what it is, but yeah. But then there's some 80s songs that are fucking whack too. Because if you look back, I always wonder that, like music today versus like for the 80s, for example. Like you listen to like best songs of the 80s and you're like, fuck man, music used to be so cool back in the day. Like today, like it sucks. But then you got to wonder, were there just as many shitty songs in the 80s too that we just don't talk about and don't remember? You know what I mean? They're probably, right? Is it really worse today or is it just like...
I mean, there must be so much music that was never played on the radio that just exists.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Like stuff that was never in rotation. And now my dad discovers bands that he would have loved growing up.
Yeah.
Now that he finds on YouTube, he'll type this in. He goes, similar bands to this, and he'll find it. And the whole album's on YouTube, Eric. I'm like, I would, okay.
It's got like 5,000 views.
He gets all excited. He's like, man, these guys and he starts telling me all the back. It's like, yeah, these guys started in Minnesota and they went down to Illinois and around like 74, 75. I was like, I don't even know what genre we're talking, buddy. But it's just like, that's why I like some of those, digging in the crates type things where people go to record stores and they grab just the coolest looking records and and then they kind of sample it and chop it up and make a song. Like, I think that's really cool because I feel like it's kind of like the same thing as opening up a book and pressing your finger to the page. Just like get the ingredients and just start making it. Like you don't have to know what you're gonna do. Just like start going through the process. So
that's literally what Kanye did for like his first 3 albums, especially College Dropout. He just fucking took old records. You know, he was just he still does that, chopping up the soul, baby. You know, go to a record store and just buy a shitload of records. And then back then, like hip hop had a different feel, like in the 2000s, where I feel like they would chop up the records, like an old soul record, and they would speed it up. You know, that's why all College Dropout is like fast paced, but it has like the high voice. Yeah. Like the samples are higher pitched. I feel like he just sped them up because they weren't fast enough. But then it kind of chilled out where you can have like a tempo of, 80 BPM again in like a rap song, you know? Doesn't have to necessarily be like that pop, pop, pop every song, you know? Because College Dropout doesn't really have any slow songs that I can think of. They're all like pretty fast paced.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. It's weird, man.
I can never remember. So all the songs off Kids See Ghosts, I mean, that was back when I used to pirate music still. And I got it. And the, whatever it was, like each song title was wrong. So then I went back and fixed it and then it auto-corrected and like did all this shit. So I can never remember what the actual name of the song is. Yeah. But it's the one where it starts with the Santa Claus sample going into the, what's the name of that song? Is that the fourth? On mine, it's The Fourth Dimension. I don't think that's right.
Yeah, I think it is called that.
Is it?
Actually. And I think Kanye gets weird when he drops music. Sometimes he goes back and edits it. I think he changed the name of that song actually in real life. So maybe that's why it got fucking wonky. Because he does that sometimes. Like I'll listen to like a new Kanye record and then he'll like add background vocals to it like a month later after it drops. And it's like, this isn't the same song anymore. Like it's kind of annoying. Like he'll like go back in, he'll record like a voice memo on his iPhone and then like add it to the song and re-upload it. I hate when artists like do that. Like if it's not ready yet, don't drop it. Just wait another month and then drop it. But don't change the song once it's out. But yeah, he changed the names of that. But yeah, it's The Fourth Dimension. What was that guy? It's like an old jazz singer or something. Oh, what is Santa bringing? You know?
Oh, that's got to be old though.
Yeah.
Like,
that's probably free use. It's probably 100 years old.
That would be the way to go. Just get all the free use stuff And you have Pooh Bear on your album cover with like gats and tattoos and shit.
Just name the. You know what's funny is free use is a popular porn category now too. It's like a new porn category. Just name the album Free Use and it's just all old fucking samples like Wizard of Oz era type shit, 30s. Isn't that crazy? The Wizard of Oz came out in like the 30s. It was still watchable. It's like 100 years old.
Yeah, that's kind of wild.
Yeah. Everybody in that movie has been dead for decades.
Because you could go back and watch Citizen Kane, which came out well after that, and that feels like a much older movie.
Yeah, than The Wizard of Oz, yeah.
Yeah. Wizard of Oz feels like, if you have a little kid watch it, they would guess like 80s or the 90s maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. Right. Same with Pinocchio. The Disney Pinocchio. I think that was like the 30s too. That was I think that was either that or Snow White were like the first Disney animated movies. But yeah, 30s or 40s, something like that. Maybe not. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that was the 60s. I don't know.
Some of those old school like animations were like super cool, where every single frame was like drawn out and they would move it just a little bit, and they would take a photo, put on a new one, take a photo. They would do a whole movie like that. Man, it's even being a kid and watching South Park, like not even just enjoying the show because it's funny and because it's put together well, but the way that they assemble it. I've always been more of a how it's done kind of guy. So even the 6 days to air, how they make an episode in 7 days, which they probably don't even do that anymore,
right? Because
they only do six episodes a season.
But for years they did that. That was that's crazy.
Like watching that and seeing their process. Like I think that's just as cool as watching the show. Definitely. But just to get back to the animation thing, it's like when they did Snow White, that must have taken
years. Probably.
And they're figuring out the process. They're like, oh, that ain't going to work. Like they get halfway through the movie and say, this is taking way too long. We got to do it differently or something. I don't know.
It's not like, that's the other thing too. It's not like the process is arduous enough, but it's not like they have a stencil to go off of either. They're literally creating the way to do it too, because it's like one of the first ones ever. So it's not like they have like a to-do like a list or a manual to follow either. They're like trying to figure out how to fucking do it too, which is pretty crazy. It's funny you bring that up because I am actually learning how to animate right now, just for fun. I got Adobe Animate and I've been fucking around with it just because we talked about it a lot and I wanted to try it out, but it's a bitch. And even today, like with the technology, it's so much easier, like creating bones in the character and like sliding along with a timeline, like a digital timeline. Even that is arduous enough. I can't imagine actually drawing it. Like, fuck that. Every other frame, 24 frames per second is like the standard. And you want to like basically have some kind of movement every other frame. So that's 12 movements a second to make it look, And it's like, fuck this. This is a bitch. Yeah. Are you still alone, by the way, in your house? Your lady's still gone, or?
Yeah, she left Thursday, and she's there for like another week or so.
Dude, I'm alone right now too. Lita's on a road trip.
We should hang out.
Yeah, dude, you could be here in 2 days.
Yeah. I'll bring the pups.
Fuck yeah.
Dude, freaking Spalding. He every day when I come home now, I just expect him to destroy something. So Spalding is my little dog. He just turned 1 last week, He pulls back the carpet and he'll like we have old tile like glued to the floor to the point that we couldn't get it up ourselves with like a shovel or one of those things or whatever.
Yeah, like a chisel,
like the scraper. Yeah. So we couldn't even get that. And then so what we did is we put temporary tile over it. So now when I come home, Spalding will pull back the carpet and eat half the tile that we used to cover the old tile, like
linoleum. Like the stick-on shit. Oh, so he's just eating it.
The 12 by 12. Yeah, he'll just like eat it. So I have a pile. I have a pile like 3 inches high of just chunks of tile that he's like spit up or that I found around the house. The big thing now is I come home and there's just like pieces of yellow foam on the ground.
What the fuck?
And I look around and it's like, where the hell is this coming from, dude? Yeah. I look at all the couches. I look at I go in the kitchen. I'm like, make sure there's no stuffed animals. I'm like, where the hell are you get? And it's like every day I come home, there's foam. And I'm like, I have no idea where this is coming from, dude. It's like,
you'll find it soon enough. That's so fucking weird. I know that dogs like to teeth when they're teething or whatever the fuck with their puppies. They just love chewing shit. but I don't understand the appeal of eating a floor. Like, why? Like, what is so great about it?
I don't know. So my fix has been I put a 5-pound plate from my weight bench and I just put it on each corner of the carpet. So now when he pulls it, it only goes up a little bit, but he can't get under it. So
There you go.
I outsmarted little bastard. Yep.
That little fucker. Yeah. I started a new job today.
What's that?
I'm bartending and serving right down the street. It's pretty dope. This place called Emmett's in Waxhaw. Downtown Waxhaw. Yep.
Nice.
Yeah, you've seen downtown Waxhaw. It's a nice little town.
Yeah.
Not much going on, but there's a little train that runs through. A little choo-choo train. It's like Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, kind of. Very fucking, what's that? Pleasantville-esque. With the community and then the little downtown. But yeah, it's cool. I went to fill out an application. You know, I just printed out my resume. I figured I'd go around Waxhaw and just find another job, you know? I always like the part-time job, a little extra cash. So I go to this place, and every fucking place I go and bring my resume, though they ask you. They're like, hey, do you have your resume? So I'm like, yeah, here you go. Printed it off, you know. I'm at the top with my fucking dick out, you know, all my work experience and shit. And then they hand me an application, and on the application, it asks you to list all your work experience, and then it asks you to list your school and everything. So I have to use my resume to fill out the entire application, which is like 5 pages long. Why the fuck do jobs ask for a resume at all? Why do I have to fill this out? Do you know what I mean?
It's even doing it online. I've applied to a lot of jobs online. It's the same thing. Like I have the resume that looks prime, dude.
Yeah.
And then I have to fill in page after, like, why do I have to tell you my last 7 jobs? Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Like what? Who cares what I got for a grade in 3rd grade science? But like, I don't even remember that. And you're asking me all this bullshit. This is fucking.
Why even have a resume at that point?
Blur out that. By the way, blur out both those.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's infuriating. So that doesn't take that long. It's not that big of a deal. But why the fuck have a resume? Because, you know, I do the same thing on like ZipRecruiter or whatever, and then they ask you to fill it out, and it takes like 15 minutes to apply to a job that would take 1 second. But I don't understand the point of having a resume. You know? These fucking cocksuckers.
What's your take on cover letters? You ever dive into those bad boys? Man, what a useless piece of garbage.
Does anybody read them? That's the thing. I've done a few of them. Yeah.
I would just, I would apply to one job and then I go to the next one and then I change the dear whoever, change the address, and then I would just change it like a little bit. But it's like, it's just so stupid, dude.
Yeah. I want this job because I like this. I
feel like I would be a great fit.
Yeah. Just fucking Google cover letter. You know what's cool about ChatGPT now is you can basically write a resume or a cover letter in like 1 second. Just use fucking ChatGPT. Hey, write me a cover letter for being a bartender. Just shits out a fucking cover letter. Little copy and paste. There you go. There you go, sweetheart.
Yeah, but eventually the AI gets so smart that they start screwing with the people. So the guy goes and the guy's like, all right, well, I'd like to read this back to you since you gave this to me. Following the fall of man, I will become God. What does that mean? And the guy's like, ugh. And he gets home, Chad, you bastard. That would be a good show. Like Chad GBT is just like the home computer.
Yeah. Yeah.
You messing with me? I lost that job today, pal. Why'd you do that to me?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. Chad GPT, you're the worst. Yeah. He just writes a whole paragraph about how you're in the KKK.
I found this part especially fascinating. Tell me more about how you were born in the 1200s. And he goes, Christ.
I did a lot of racial material this past week for stand-up, and I'm trying to work out this bit about how everybody in the country thinks Boston is super racist. I don't know why. It's like a thing for Boston. Like Boston is a racist city, you know? Dude, on my way from my house to Charlotte, I passed 5 Confederate flags. I don't know if Boston is really that racist. So my whole bit, but people in Charlotte don't think it's funny because they're like offended. So I'm like talking about all the Confederate flags down here and then bringing up the Civil War. Like, yeah, you guys think Boston is racist. Do you guys like forget who fought on which side of the Civil War? You know, like I passed 5 Confederate flags on the way here, but then nobody laughs and they're all like looking around like, this guy thinks we're racist. Boston is so racist. It's like, well,
the guy looks over and he goes, "Hey, Jimmy, get the rope. We gonna drag this boy through the town."
I mean, we could go over the history of this place versus Boston and we could decide what's more racist. Obviously, there are racists in Boston, but there's racists everywhere. I don't think Boston is a racist city. You know?
No,
I don't know.
I mean, even considering they have some of like the biggest African American like athletes of all time.
That's
Bill
true.
Bill Russell is arguably like the greatest athlete of all time, and he was not from Boston, but he played for Boston.
Yeah, well, sports teams aside, although there are a lot of Boston fans.
That does help bring people together, is that kind of stuff, though.
Yeah. You can't. It's kind of hard to be racist and root for a black guy. I don't see how that's possible, but there are people that go to like Boston, like Celtics games, where they do scream like the N-word at LeBron. So there is that side of the sports thing too, to play devil's advocate. But is it more than other cities? Like, there's probably fucking knuckleheads everywhere. Real knucklehead. You know? I don't know. Boston has like one of the biggest Chinatowns in the US. You know, other than New York City, I think Boston has a huge Chinatown. Might even be bigger than New York City. It's like a whole section of Boston.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I live up next to Vermont, and all I have is white people, so.
Yeah. That's all I had growing up. The first time I saw a black guy, I thought he had a... What's wrong with you? I'm just kidding. That was pretty...
Jesus.
That did not come out the way I wanted it to.
Yo, so with Emily gone, I've been left to make my own meals, which is an experience in its own, because I don't always make my own food. Like that's just kind of what she does.
Right.
So I had like these like little Italian bread pizza things that I made in the oven, and there's a thing on the box that said let cool for 2 minutes. I didn't really follow that, so I basically like threw it on a plate, and then I went and watched TV, and I was like scarfing these things down. Dude, I burned the crap out of my mouth so bad. It was like I could feel it was like swollen, and it was like bleeding when I brushed my teeth.
Yeah.
Dude, it was, I scarfed down that first pizza, and I didn't realize till like my throat was on fire that I was like eating a really, really, really hot pizza. Because you put it in your mouth. Well, because usually when you put something like a little too hot in your mouth, like it'll cool down because it's in your mouth.
Right.
And this is just too hot to the point that it kind of like numbed to my mouth. And I was like, oh, this isn't hot anymore. And I just swallowed lava. Dude, I was rough. Like the next 3 days, I was just like, like my mouth felt like plastic. It was all smooth. It was weird.
Yeah. I hate burning my tongue, dude. That one fucking sip of coffee that's too hot, and then you can't feel your tongue for 3 days. It's like,
yeah.
Just one sip. That's all it takes. Oh, man. Yeah, cooking for yourself. Mac and cheese and fucking pizza. Hell yeah.
Make a lot of eggs. A lot of egg sandwiches with just ham and cheese and stuff.
Nice.
Pretty easy.
That's good. When's your lady come back? You said a week?
Well, she comes back like this Thursday, but she's driving straight to Maine because she has a bachelorette thing.
Ah.
And then Monday, when she's driving back, she's going to pick up my parents because I'm driving to my parents on Thursday to drop the dogs off because Friday I'm going to Metallica.
Oh, shit. You're going to Metallica?
Yeah.
God damn.
It's a Friday, Sunday show in New Jersey. It's at MetLife.
Oh, sweet.
So Saturday, me and Clive are going to go. There's like a cover band at night, and then there's a what is it? It's like some type of like film festival thing, but it's all Metallica movies. So
that's sick.
We're just gonna get the experience the whole weekend. It's gonna be pretty cool. But yeah, she's gonna pick the dogs up, and then so I won't see her till Monday.
Damn, yeah. Same with Lita. I think she's gonna be back on Friday. Her aunt. It's so funny because her aunt works 20 minutes from where we live, just randomly. Yeah. Like out of anywhere in the United States, we just happen to move to a place that our aunt works. It has nothing to do with why we moved here at all in any way. But so her aunt and her cousin and her are on a road trip. They're in like Savannah, Georgia now, I think. They're going down to St. Augustine, Florida. They stopped in Charleston. Yeah. It's a little road trip action. So, but yep, just me and the cat. The cat's been going crazy. I think she misses Lita. She's been walking around.
I know it kind of slowed down a little bit, but for the first few days that Emily was gone, they would just sit at the door like all day.
Yeah.
I'm like, boys, Mama's not coming home.
Yeah.
She's not going to come through that door.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whatever.
Do you think they don't have the same concept of time as people, is what they say? But do you think that's true? I don't know.
Well, there is like, I feel like they interpret time differently, but it's the whole, every year is one dog year because like in their world, like one human day is like the equivalent of one dog week in like the lifespan. But
Right.
I wouldn't compare it that way for like how they interpret time because I don't think they go 7 days and being like, all right, well, that was one experience. It's like, no, it's every experience is a little different.
Yeah, maybe it has to do with like their memory, Because they'll like, if you're gone for 5 minutes and then come back, they treat it the same way as if you're gone for an hour and come back. You know what I mean? I don't know. Yeah. I think we just took like the average age they live and then the average age a person lives. And we're like, oh, people live 7 times longer. And then that made it, a year.
Yeah, that's what it was. It was, whatever it was. Like dogs live to be 12 or 14 or something. They multiplied it by 7 and all right, that's the average. So.
Yeah. Do you think people will ever live to be like on average over 100? Or do you think that we pretty much maxed out the human lifespan?
Oh, I wouldn't say the average would be over 100.
Right. Not even like 100 years from now. Like if they figure out supplementation or like CRISPR, how to alter your DNA.
Well, no, because if you need the average to be over 100, then you need us to live another 100 years. And I don't think that's going to happen.
Do you think the first person to live over like 130 is alive today? Or do you think like
they gotta be.
I wonder, because you can only improve so much, right? And there's got to be a limit to how long people can live. Nobody's becoming immortal unless they can find a way with CRISPR to stop the aging process altogether, right? Because they know, like telomeres, for example, and DNA and everything, and they know what happens as you age. Basically, the telomeres shorten, your DNA just begins to fail. That's why you can't repair your body like you used to. That's why you get white hair and shit. Just your DNA failing. But if they can prevent that and you don't age, I guess you could technically live forever. Because aging is just a byproduct, really. It's not essential, It's not like we need to age. We just do after we reproduce. Like the body is designed to just reproduce another person. So after you're past that age of, it takes 20 years, 30 years. And then your body's like, all right, well, you did your job. Now it's time to, who cares?
All right. 1 second. I got to kill an ant.
Kill an ant?
All right. Take that back. He's gone missing. He was climbing on my desk over here and I don't know why. And I'm going to find him after this and destroy his entire family.
That son of a bitch. Get the can.
Do you watch The Bear on Hulu?
No.
Okay. I finished season 2 last night. I thought it was pretty good.
What is The Bear?
The Bear. It's got Jeremy Allen White. I think it's Lip from Shameless.
Yeah.
And
yeah. I've seen the ads for that.
It's his brother commits suicide and gives him his restaurant, and he went to like this fancy like culinary school, so he like knows the skills.
Yeah.
But he's not really like a people person. So he's trying to like, because season 1 was them just kind of staying afloat, and then season 2 is them remodeling the whole place so they can like get to open. So every episode starts with 12 weeks to open, 10 weeks to open, and it's like all the timeline leading up to it.
Yeah.
But it's like very fast paced. I think you would appreciate it. It's I think you kind of relate to the main character too, because just the way that he, I don't know, the way he operates.
Is he a real fuck? He's a real.
Yeah, he's a real fuck. But there's like a flashback. So at one point it said 450 weeks to open. So it was like years before. And the brother that offed himself was John Bernthal, the guy that played the Punisher.
Oh yeah, I know John Bernthal.
The Netflix, the guy from Walking Dead. And then the mom is Kathy Lee Curtis, and she's only in 2 episodes the whole series. But there's because every week or every episode was like 30 minutes. And then all of a sudden I start watching and I'm like, God, this episode is so long. This episode was an hour and a half long. And I'm like, what the hell am I watching? And it was all the flashback stuff. And it gives you all like the background material for all the characters and stuff. And they're all interacting. And the mom goes crazy and drives the car through the front of the house after making Thanksgiving dinner. And
Jesus.
I don't know. It was just kind of cool because like I just went from like half-hour episodes and all of a sudden I'm 40 minutes in and I'm like, how long is this shit, dude?
Yeah.
But it's all, I don't know. It's kind of cool that that's where we live now, not live, but that's where we are now with technology and entertainment of, not everything has to be a half hour with commercials and.
Yeah, fuck that. Do you have Apple TV?
No.
Oh, dude, we just got it. It's super cheap. It's like $6.99 a month or something. It's like the cheapest one. We started watching like 3 shows on Apple TV. They're all fucking killer. Like surprisingly, I thought they were going to be janky and not as good as like Netflix or something. I don't know why I thought that, but dude, they're fucking good. There's one with Idris Elba that takes place on an airplane, and it's called Hijack. It's about a plane getting hijacked, and it's like a series. It's the whole series is like a 7-hour flight, and it's 1 hour per episode, and it's about a plane getting hijacked that Idris Elba's on. Fucking great show. There's another show called Severance, which is a sci-fi show. The older brother and stepbrothers, Derek or Darren or whatever, is the main character. And let me run this concept by you because I don't know why nobody's done this for sci-fi before, but it's cool. The idea is he works at a secret facility and he gets severed. So they put something in his brain. So his work self and his regular at home self are basically 2 different people. So he goes in the elevator and then clicks on to his work self. So he doesn't remember anything from work ever. And his work self doesn't remember anything from home. So it's like he splits his body. So because it's so top secret, they can't even trust him to go home. But yeah, Derek from Step Brothers is like the main character. It's a fucking great show. Who else is in that? Christopher Walken's in it. And the guy that's in all those Adam Sandler movies that is like the bad guy in Zohan is in it too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But there's some killer shows on Apple TV too. Interesting.
Yeah, I went on my laptop yesterday because I don't have Peacock, but I wanted to watch the new Twisted Metal.
Yeah.
So I just I have my ways of watching what I want to watch. So I hopped on, and then I watched the first episode of Twisted Metal. That'll be pretty good. It's picking up pretty quick. The premise is so it's kind of like the video games, like that's kind of like the universe, but it's like all the bad people they kicked out of the cities. They put up walls around the cities to keep the bad guys out. Yeah. And then so the only people that drive between these cities they're called milkmen, and they bring supplies from city to city, and they get paid in like gasoline and guns and ammunition to like do that, and like that's kind of yeah, now he's episode 2. I haven't watched episode 2 yet, but it's going to be driving to Las Vegas, and it ended with Sweet Tooth in the back of the ice cream machine or the ice cream truck. Man, I don't know why, man. I think that whole show is going to be so cool, and it might flop. I have no idea. Yeah, but I'm sure I'm going to love it, dude, because that's just like the universe I wanted to see.
Twisted Metal's cool, man. You know, one thing about Twisted Metal that never made any sense to me. Remember that guy Axel?
Yeah.
The guy between the 2 big tires, and he's just hanging on.
He just had his arm out to like each side, and he's just like holding the tires in place.
You're shooting napalm at him and like bombs and like bullets, and he's like a car. It's like if this guy got hit in the chest with a napalm, he wouldn't. You know what I mean? It doesn't make any sense.
And then they had like the cheesy little voiceovers, like you shoot napalm at him, all he goes, "That didn't hurt me." It's like, what? You can't hurt me.
You thought you could block me. Yeah. What's your style? Yeah. Dude, Obama's chef drowned. You hear about that?
What, in their jacuzzi? That's not suspicious.
Paddleboarding off Martha's Vineyard.
Huh.
Get this. Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton's chef also drowned a few years after, I think in 2016, something like that. Kind of weird.
Yeah, we should look into that.
Obama was seen a couple days after his chef drowned and his fingers were wrapped up and he has a black eye. He was playing golf.
I can see it. That was a good visual.
Kind of weird, man. I don't know. Yeah, Twitter officially changed to X. So the Twitter logo is now X. People are talking about it on there. It's weird because if you Google Obama chef, nothing really comes up. It's kind of like one of those things where you can only see it on Twitter, you know?
So what's a tweet called now? An X?
Just a post, just like everything else.
Oh, you see the post on X? Okay, I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, it's kind of like Instagram, you know? It's just a post.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, the retweet button is now a repost button. But it's the same. Everyone's like, oh man, Elon's really driving Twitter into the ground. It's in the death rolls. It's dying. It's been the narrative since he bought it. Twitter is dying. Twitter is dying. Meanwhile, everybody's on Twitter talking about how it's dying. It's literally the exact same app. It's just called X now. It's not even any different. But yeah, it's funny because Twitter, with like the lack of censorship, call it good, call it bad, call it whatever you want. I think it's good because it's more free speech. But you can kind of see stuff on Twitter or X that you can't see other places, like the Obama chef thing and like the conspiracy theories, which is interesting. But another big one is the RFK thing where RFK claims he hasn't got Secret Service protection yet, which most presidential candidates get Secret Service protection. Like Trump got it, you know. Everybody gets it, but he's been denied his request for Secret Service protection. And in a tweet, he said, typically it takes 14 days to get Secret Service protection. It's been 88 days. I haven't got it yet. You know, 1488 is like Nazi code or something. So everybody's like saying that RFK is a Nazi. It's like all these Democrats saying that RFK is secretly putting out Nazi messages. Like Sarah Silverman is in on it. And it's like Blue Anon. You know, it's like the QAnon of like the Democrats. It's weird.
Yeah.
I don't think RFK's a Nazi, guys. Let's settle down. I mean, yeah. It is weird, though. He should get Secret Service considering that he is related to two people that were assassinated. You know?
Yeah, but I don't want to get assassinated, so I'll keep this to myself.
Okay.
We'll just keep it.
Yeah.
No, because the people that are going to assassinate him are the people that are going to protect him.
Right. Yeah, the deep state. The CIA. It's kind of weird, too, that JFK Jr. died in a plane crash, too. Tragically. That could have just been an actual plane crash, but yeah, Bobby Kennedy, it's weird.
I was cruising through the YouTube universe, and it was something about people were talking about the age of our politicians or whatever. Mm-hmm. And it was talking about some 84-year-old guy who, he was the Republican. He just got up and he just kind of like dozed off.
Oh, you mean Mitch McConnell with the blank face?
Guy. Yeah. So he's just like looking and
yeah, he had like a stroke or a seizure or something.
Yeah, that's what they said. I think he's just old and not able to do what he needs to do.
It was weird because he was like mid-sentence and then just stopped for like 20 seconds straight and stared. And it was like, something's going on, you know? Could have been like a mini stroke. I don't know. But yeah, the average like public servant should probably be less than the average age that people die. Like, can we start there? Like maybe public servants, it's weird too, because if you look at like the average age of public servants, they've all gone up by like 30 years in the past 30 years. It's because there's no term limits for half these fucking people. There need to be term limits or cognitive tests or something. And that includes the president too, man. Everybody. It's not that crazy to request a cognitive test, but then you get like, oh, well, who's going to grade the test? Like, no, just make it like an SAT or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, if you throw something at the president, he should be able to catch it or get out of the way from 10 feet away. Like, can we start with something like that? I don't know.
Yeah, because there was a 90-year-old, what was he? She was a Democrat, and they were just like starting off the meeting or whatever, and they're going around saying yes or no, and they ask her, and she just starts rambling on about something she wants to pass or something, and there's like this video of this guy coming over and be like, no, they just asked you this, and she goes, yes, and then she just like, but she's like 90 years old. It's like, come on, Gam, you should know better.
Yeah, she has no idea what's going on. It's
she
weird.
has no idea what world she's in. She shit her pants twice today.
Yeah.
Maybe now. Maybe she's pooping right now.
Probably. Yeah. It's on both sides too. It's not like, you know, they're too fucking old, dude. Get rid of them. The hell we doing? I don't know. The perfect age for a president is probably like 50, in my opinion. You know, still has experience. You could be 35, but I think that's too young. You know?
Yeah. I think the first, how old is RFK?
RFK is pretty old, but he looks fucking great. He's 69.
I've seen him with his shirt off. He looks kind of jacked.
For 69, he's fucking shredded.
He would beat the crap out of me.
he's doing a pull-up contest with Russell Brand.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. If he wins, I think Russell Brand has to come to like 5 of his events or something, because Russell Brand's a fan. Yeah, he's had him on a couple times on his podcast. Russell Brand's podcast is fucking killer, by the way. It's so funny, like, the evolution of Russell Brand, because he was like a comedian and then a movie star, you know, like Get Him to the Greek and shit. And now he's like a political commentator that just has like a killer show just talking about shit you can't talk about. You know, he's on like Rumble mostly. It's funny because you listen to his podcast on like Apple Podcasts, like the first half hour, he's like, all right, we got to switch to Rumble for the second half. We got to switch to Rumble for the second half because YouTube's going to take us down. And then he just, you know, talks about all this shit. You know, it's just like COVID was such a wake up call for so many people. It was like a blessing in disguise. You know, so many people just don't trust legacy media or the pharmaceutical industry. Get your vaccines, you know. But yeah, it's kind of like the last straw. You know, the unveiling of how badly we're all getting fucked in the ass.
So it's weird to hear you bring up COVID and just like think about it, and like obviously COVID sucked, like it was not a good time, but there were good things that came of it, you know?
Yeah.
It allowed people to reset. A lot of people got fucked. Everybody got fucked. Yeah. But it's not like it was all bad all the way. Like at the end of the day, the sun's still going to come up. You know, we got to figure this out or whatever. But I mean, I moved in here to this house like 2 weeks before COVID started.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be in the situation I'm in now if, I don't know.
It depends on what people did with it, man. A lot of people fell into depressions and, you know, it was horrible for like the average mental health of people. And it was horrible for the GDP, for the economy, for the world. Obviously, a lot of people died. A lot of people suffered. It was not a good time in history, but, you know, make lemonade, baby. One good thing about it is it allowed everybody to reset and reconsider. Maybe I don't want to go back to that shitty job that I've been doing for 3 years. Maybe I could do something else. And also just showing how corrupt everything is and how like the propaganda machine, it just like showed us that fucking governors and mayors can literally force you not to be allowed to go to work. But I never thought that was fucking possible. I didn't know that they could, in LA, that they could legally put sand in the skate parks to prevent people from skateboarding. So that way they don't spread COVID outside. Like crazy shit that I never thought was possible in this country. It's just, it was so gross and so fucked up for so long. You know, and it's a lot of it's Monday morning quarterbacking now, where people are like, well, we didn't know at the time. Okay, sure. But what they did to small businesses, like 75% of small businesses in LA closed at one point and just got bought by other people. So many restaurants. It's just so sad. Imagine like working your whole life to start a business and you happen to start it in like 2019. And then it's just ripped from you. You know, they didn't give those people shit. You know, meanwhile, we're fucking giving billions to Ukraine. We are fucked.
So you could say COVID wasn't all good. There was definitely some bad stuff to it.
Absolutely. Yeah, it was bad. But, try and look at the plus side. I mean, for sure, people didn't trust the news before COVID. Ever since Trump, like, the news has been wonky, fake news and shit. But now it's like nobody under the age of 55 trusts the news at all.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there's that. Man,
I think it showed people's resiliency because you had to get through it. And people had the time that they didn't have the time to do before things too.
Yes, indeed.
No, man, COVID sucked. No, I'm not trying to be pro. I'm not trying to be pro COVID, but
nobody here is pro COVID.
I mean, it was unique, dude. Because I mean, obviously, I hope that never happens again.
Right.
But it would be weird to talk to my children one day and be like, yeah, at one point this happened. They'd be like, no, it didn't. I'm like, no, it really did.
Yeah.
Whereas, it's the same as, what was it? I celebrated my dad's birthday last weekend, and he was born in 1954.
Yep.
In 1955 was when Rosa Parks stood up in the back of the bus, or the front of the bus.
Isn't that wild?
And I'm thinking about that, and I'm like, dude, that was your lifetime that that literally happened.
Yeah.
It's just wild, dude. I don't know why I brought it from there to there or whatever, but
yeah.
This time is a construct, dude.
Yeah.
Very strange.
It is wild, man.
Put it this way. I was thinking about this last weekend when I was driving around, but I don't even know if I brought this up on the pod or not. But saying that I'm 30 is different from saying 14 years ago I was 16.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that is because I feel like to an extent I'm a 30-year-old man and I should be doing what adults do. But
right.
at the same thing, I'm still the same person I was when I was 16. I mean, obviously I've grown up and matured and stuff, but
right.
It's not that I see myself as an 18-year-old, but I don't know. It's just the weird way to think about time.
It is weird, man. We met each other when we were 15. So we've known each other half our lives.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's wild.
It's odd. Yeah, and here we are sitting in our fucking little cul-de-sacs in our little rooms recording dick and fart jokes on the airwaves for all the creamers out there. This is an oddly serious episode. Not a lot of jokes, but sometimes you got to have one, I guess.
Sometimes you got to come with the news, baby. That's what it is.
The news is here, baby. Yeah. Long live Blue and On. Long live RFK. Let's battle it out, Fuck resumes. 1488. Nazis. New job, fuck applications. And I'm going to keep telling racist jokes on stage and see what happens.
Amen, brother.
Well, creamers, till next week.
Stay creamy.